show today. I'm going to pop right into it. Mike Scott, University, you know what the fuck is good. UFC on ESPN 33, Anthony Smith, Alexander Rakic. Let's see if I can get this sound up. Make sure that we can get that working. Yeah, sounds good. Good deal. Main card starts, Magomed Ankalaev versus Ion Cutabala. We've went over this fight 3 times already. It was a controversial finish the first time. It got canceled 2 other times. Crossing our fingers, it's going to land on this card. I really want Ion Cutabala to win, but I think Ankalaev's going to outstrike him there. Ricardo Lamas was supposed to fight Ryan Hall. Ryan Hall fell out to injury. Is now fight Bill Algeo, however you say his name. Lamas is a black belt in jiu-jitsu. Would have been great to see him go against the black belt in Ryan Hall. Division 3 wrestler. He's 19-8, 1-2 since 2018. His last fight was a knockout loss to Kelvin Catter last June, and he's never been submitted in his entire career. Where Bill Angelo, 13-4, you think UFC debut, you think he's a new guy. No, he's got 17 pro fights. 4-1 since 2018, so a lot better record. Not in the UFC, though. His losses are all against top-level competition. Besides maybe one, he's lost to Brandon Lawgrain, Jared Gordon, and Shane Burgos. Shane Burgos was his only submission loss. With that being said, I think Ricardo Lamas is a lot more dangerous submission-wise than Shane Burgos. I could be wrong about that, just from what I've seen. So I think that if Lamas is able to get it to the ground, as far as wrestling and submissions go, I think he'll be able to handle Angelo pretty well down there. 6 out of 13 has wins via submission. He's never been knocked out in his career. Still, I'm gonna go with the veteran Ricardo Lamas. I think he's gonna pull it out, especially this guy coming in on short notice. Alexa Grasso, Ji Young Kim. Grasso 11-3, never been knocked out, only been submitted 1 time by Tatiana Suarez. 3-3 in the UFC, no submission wins, 4 wins via TKO knockout. 7-2 by decision, so 7 wins by decision, 2 losses by decision. She has wins over Karolina Kowalkiewicz, Ronda Marcos, Heather Jo Clark, and Mizuki, who we just seen fight last weekend. Kim's 9-2-2. Surprisingly, started her pro career with 2 draws, which is very interesting. Never been finished. 5 out of 9 of her wins via finish. 3 submissions, 2 knockouts. She got wins over Nadia Kassy and Justine Kish, and losses to Lucy Pulova and Antonia Shevchenko. So I think the higher level of competition goes to Grasso. I think Grasso is a little bit further in her UFC competition-wise. I'm going to go Alexa Grasso probably by decision, maybe by submission. I'm not going to call it right there, but we'll see. Never been finished, Kim. So, I would assume it would be pretty hard. But if it goes decision, I'm going to lean towards Grasso anyway. So, Alexa Grasso. Robbie Lawler, Neil Magny in the co-main event. Who was Robbie Lawler supposed to fight? It wasn't Neil Magny. Neil Magny was supposed to fight Jeff Neal. Oh, that's what it was. Neil Magny was supposed to fight Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal had the life-threatening injury come. He had to go get surgery or something like that. He doesn't know when he's going to be back to training. Prayers up for Jeff Neal. Hopefully he'll recover and be back soon. Neil Magny now taking on Robbie Lawler. 28-14-1 is Lawler, currently on a 3-fight losing streak, though. He lost his belt to Tyron Woodley, came back, won against Cerrone. After that, he lost decision to RDA. Got choked out by Ben Askren. Kind of, not really, wasn't out. And then lost the decision to Kobe Covington. 20 out of 28 days wins via TKO knockout. He's 38 years old. Some people are saying he's over the hill. I think this is going to be the test to see, is he over the hill? Can he still compete with those young guys? Neil Magny, a predominantly good grappler, will now try his hand in striking with Robbie Lawler's, improved his striking a tremendous amount in his last couple fights against Li Jinglang and Anthony Rocco Martin, which was his 2 last wins over a 2-fight winning streak. And he's 7-2 by TKO knockout. So he's got 7 wins, 2 losses by TKO knockout. And he's got 13 wins by decision and 1 loss by decision. So I know he might not have the power to put Robbie out. Maybe, Robbie's getting older. Maybe he can put him out. If he stays away from Robbie's power and is able to show that same striking he did in the Anthony Martin fight, I think he's going to be able to really show out here and maybe win a decision win. I'd say either he rocks him, gets him down, submits him, or he's going to have a decision win on his hands. But I'm going to go Neil Magny there. Anthony Smith, Alexander Rakic. Smith 33-15, 30 out of 33 of his wins via finish, 18 TKOs, 12 submissions. His last fight was TKO loss to Glover Teixeira in May. He had those cardio issues. Now, when you say Anthony Smith has cardio issues, you can look back to some fights at middleweight. He was cutting himself. He's depleted. Not cutting himself. He was cutting weight. He was depleted. So I mean, it could have been that would deal with his cardio when he was at middleweight. Now his first that wasn't his first fight at light heavyweight, but his first fight back from the pandemic, and he has a little bit of a cardio issues in the later rounds. So let's just see what his cardio is like when he comes back. He's brown belt in jiu-jitsu, 8-4 in the UFC. Rakic is a purple belt in jiu-jitsu, so if it goes to the ground advantage to Smith. He's only been subbed once. Now it's his pro debut. He's 4-1 in the UFC. His biggest win is against Jimmy Manuwa. Last fight, a split decision loss against Volkan Oezdemir back in December 2019. 9 out of 12 of his wins via TKO or knockout, which makes me think he's going to stand up and try to trade with Anthony Smith. I think that could get him in trouble if Anthony Smith lands a big strike and gets him on the ground. I think it's going to be a rough night for Rakic, and Rakic has one submission win as well. But, Smith is so decorated, 12 submission wins. Has showed in many fights before that he's great on the ground. I see it hard to say that if it gets to the ground, Rakic should have a long night. But Rakic has a lot of power, man, and if he's standing up and he's landing good shots, he could put Anthony Smith out on the feet. This one's a very hard one. I'm going to go either Anthony Smith via submission or TKO, hopefully in the earlier rounds, 1, 2, 3. Thank God we have another 5-round fucking main event. Rest of the card, Makai Pitolo versus Impa Kazanagi, Mallory Martin versus Hannah Cyphers, Alessio DiCirio versus Zach Cummins, Alex Caceres versus Giga Chikazi, Paulina Viana versus Emily Whitmire, Sean Brady versus Christian Aguilar. Great card. Compared to last week, on paper, it looks way better. Last week's card, obviously, did way better than it looked on paper. But this one looks 10 times better on paper. Hopefully it delivers 10 times better on an actual time. Dana White's Contender Series. Tonight, we're looking at Colin Huckbody versus Cryon Bowen. Colin Huckbody is natural 185er. They're fighting at middleweight. A natural 185er. 7-2. Number 41 ranked middleweight in the United States and number 1 ranked middleweight in Minnesota. His opponent, Cron Babin's a natural welterweight. He's 9-4. The number 2 welterweight in Arkansas and the number 80 welterweight in the United States. So a little bit of a weight disadvantage there, I guess you would say, just naturally, because I guess, they're both fighting at 185, but short notice, pandemic shit happens, Anthony Romero versus Mike Breeden. Romero's 7-0, number 1 in New York, number 59 in the United States. Mike Breeden's 8-2, number 3 in Minnesota, number 68 in the United States. So pretty close matchup there. Mike Breeden's teammate, Jeffrey Molina, will be fighting Jacob Silva. Molina's 7-2, number 3 out of Kansas, Missouri, number 49 in the United States. Jacob Silva's number 4 in Texas, number 50 in the United States. So number 49 versus number 50 in the United States. Those are both the same weight class. Another mismatch in weight classes at lightweight. Rafael Alves versus Alejandro Flores. Alves is 18-9 natural lightweight, number 2 lightweight in Florida, number 9 lightweight in the United States. Alejandro Flores is a natural featherweight, 17-2, number 1 featherweight in Mexico, number 2 featherweight in California, number 4 featherweight in the United States. So that should also be a very good fight. And then you got Jehovah Pattay versus Jamie Pickett, which I believe is the main event. Pickett was already on the Contender Series once. He's 10-4. Number 1 in North Carolina, number 2 in Nevada, and number 113 in the United States, whereas Pattay is 107 in the United States and number 4 in Texas. So I think tonight's fights are going to be off the chain. Dana White's been giving out a lot of contracts. Somewhere in there, I think that has to do with talent, but also I think, you see a finish. and the pandemic's going on, you want as much fighters as you can under contract just so that you could fill as many cards as you possibly can. People not wanting to fight. COVID comes in, you need to grab people up. It's good to have people under contract so you don't have to negotiate contracts right on the spot. You already have contracts signed here, short notice fight. So that's it, guys. I'm going to look up what's next week. But those are my picks. I didn't do too good this past week. But now, granted, 2 fights got canceled, so their opponents fought each other, and then another fight got canceled for that card. So there could have been a lot better chance of me doing better, and just kind of got fucked by fights getting canceled. But let's see what we got next week. Next week, September 5th, Alistair Overeem versus Augustus Sakai. Nico Montano is supposed to be coming back on that card. Julia Avila. It's a hard fight, man. What else we got? C.R. Eubanks, Messi Chastain. Ricky Simone, Brian Kelleher. That's going to be a good one. Kama Worthy versus Ottoman Astar. Owen St. Preux, Alonzo Menifield's supposed to be coming back on that card. Now, if that does, that fight comes exactly 2 weeks from Owen St. Preux's positive COVID test. So I wonder how that's going to go down. If they're going to keep testing him throughout this week, going into next week, or if they're just going to test him when fight week comes. Should be very interesting. COVID sucks, man. I hate that it's going on. It's a good opportunity for Mike Rodriguez. Mike Rodriguez stepped up. He was supposed to be middle of the main card, came up, co-main event, big knockout win. So, in this pandemic thing that's going on, you got one of 2 options. It could either suck for you, you could get fights canceled, this and that, or you could just be sitting in kind of an average place, and all of a sudden, bang, you're co-main event, main event. It's life changing, just like that. Star could be born. Get a good knockout. Everybody's calling your name now. You got a big top 15 fight, now you're in top 15. Title chance is coming soon. So it could be life-changing for some of these fighters and bad for others. You never know. We'll be back next week. You guys stay barbecued. Everybody, Michael Scott University. Remember that shit.